Not many years have passed since Emmaus was one of the favorite destinations for pilgrims in the Holy Land. The friars of the custody say that the local sanctuary once offered 4 or 5 masses a day, as the last leg of a journey through the places where Christianity originated, from Jesus' birth to his resurrection. On the road between Jerusalem and Tel Aviv, before reaching the airport and heading back home, the last visit was kept for the place recalling one of the first manifestations of the risen Jesus. Following the construction of the wall that separates Israel from the Palestinian territories, few are the groups that still go to the small Arab village only 12 kilometers away from Jerusalem, but divided from the Holy City by a concrete barrier and checkpoint that make a long detour necessary to reach the holy place. On the feasts of St. Simon and Cleopas, who walked side by side with the risen one, finally recognizing him in the breaking of bread, we walked with the Franciscans on Sunday, September 25th, the difficult road towards El-Kubaybi, the small dome. It is right here that the friars of the custody have identified ancient Emmaus and the remains of what could be the home of the disciple Cleopas. Although other traditions situate the ancient Emmaus in different places, what convinces the Franciscans of the reliability of this identification, attested since the time of the Crusades, is especially the distance from Jerusalem, the 60 stadiums mentioned in the Gospel of Luke, telling the story of the 2 disciples on their way home.
While they were talking and discussing together, Jesus himself drew near and went with them, but their eyes were kept from recognizing him.
To Cleopas and Simon, sad and disappointed after the death of the Master, Jesus explained the scriptures along the road. Near the village of Emmaus, then having been invited to stay, he took bread, blessed and broke it, and gave it to them. Then their eyes were opened, and they knew him. This is one of the most beautiful texts of Scripture, said in his homily Father Artemio Vitores. It is a catechesis that Jesus gives to the 2 disciples, but really also to each one of us. Jesus is close to us along the way, even in moments of discouragement, even when hope fades and we move away from him, as it happens with the disciples of Emmaus on this evening of Easter. The custodial vicar presided at the Mass on Sunday morning, where there was also a time for the renewal of the temporary vows of Brother Tomasz Dubil. Among the concelebrants at the altar there was also Father Francis Witer. The Polish friar, the guardian of this shrine, lives here with a brother and a few nuns. Guardians of a holy place in a village that now houses only one family of Christians. And yet, at one time, not only the pilgrims brought life to these areas, the view of the hills of Samaria was also the background for the activities of the minor seminary of the Franciscans, active here until the War of '67, then reopened in 1986, but now completely abandoned. It is a silence that questions, one that is breathed in Emmaus, where the challenge of being a Christian is clearly manifest today in these places. But the difficulty does not negate the truth and presence of the event that we recall here.
For me, to be here and to serve means to share this joy with all, that the Lord, after his resurrection, showed that he remains with us in the Eucharist. One could say of the Eucharist that this is the sanctuary, because Jesus, after the resurrection, showed that when we repeat what he did in the upper room, this is accomplished in the Church, in the life of the community.
It is a community of a few in Emmaus, and so the celebration for Saints Cleopas and Simon, which gathers here friars and faithful from Jerusalem, becomes all the more a celebration, adding to the memory the joy of sharing an event which occurred here and which is still occurring today.